What is success and what does it mean to you? The dictionary defines it as the gaining of wealth and fame, but I define success as the way one feels about their self. You know you've reached success when you're financially good, when you're happy with life, and when you have peace of mind, the absence of stress and anxiety. I believe that in order for someone to be successful, you need to have a goal or a dream, something that involves planning, time, and effort. There was a point in my life when I realized that where I was heading towards wasn't the road to success. I'm not saying that I was doing bad things, but I wasn't doing the right thing correctly. I was too busy worrying about other people's problems and not focusing on my own problems and responsibilities. When I turned 18 years old, I received a lawsuit of $80,000. I was doing great. I had a job at Hopeworks, I was going to college, and I was living with my mom so I didn't have to pay rent. I had it made. Then something happened that changed everything. I received a phone call from my brother. At the moment, he was living in New York with my dad, my sister, and my younger brother. He told me that my dad had split and left them with the apartment. They were backed up on 4 months' rent and didn't have the money to pay it. He said that he needed me to be out there with them to pay the rent and to help out because all the pressure was on him. What kind of brother would I have been if I didn't reach out and help them? So I did. I left everything I had worked hard for and moved to New York to help my family. With the money I had from the lawsuit, I paid the 4 months' rent that they owed along with the next month's rent. Everything was all good. About a month later, my older brother got arrested and was sentenced to do 6 months in prison. Being that I was the second oldest, that left me with the responsibility to take care of my younger brother and sister. The entire time he was arrested, my sister and I were taking care of the rent, the electricity bill, and I was providing food for us. A mistake that I made was not getting a job. I was using my lawsuit money to pay the rent and buy food. By the time my brother came out of jail, I was broke. I didn't have a job, so there was no way I could contribute and help out. My brother, on the other hand, was doing well financially. He was selling drugs, so he was making a good enough amount of money to pay the rent on his own. I guess that's when he felt like he had the power to do as he pleased. He started telling me that I needed a job because he wasn't going to pay the rent on his own. Meanwhile, other people were living there as well. So I started looking for a job. After 2 weeks of job hunting, I had no luck. My brother then came up with his own solution to the problem. He wanted me to start selling drugs for him. I immediately told him no, and I refused to do it. And can you believe what he did next? He kicked me out of the apartment. After I left what I had in Jersey to help them, he kicked me out. We got into an argument because I didn't want to leave. I felt like I didn't deserve that. As we argued, he said a lot of things that hurt me. He called me a bum and told me that I would never be successful. That if it wasn't for that lawsuit money, I would have never been able to help. And now that the money is gone, I was back to being a nobody. This broke my heart but also snapped me back into reality. I realized that I need to be successful in life. I don't ever want to give anyone a reason to say something like what my brother said to me again. After all that happened, I moved back to Camden, New Jersey with my mother. I would spend nights just thinking and sometimes even crying about what had happened. I felt betrayed, worthless, abandoned. I felt like a nobody. How can he do this to me? I loved them. I looked out for them. I sacrificed my future for them. Why did this happen? That very moment, I told myself that I needed to change. I needed to change my frame of mind, my philosophy, the way I saw myself in the world. I shouldn't dwell on the past. It has already made me what I am today. What I needed to do was take advantage of the situation. We need to have bad experiences, because if we don't, how will we ever learn? Then all of a sudden, I thought about Hopeworks. The next day, I went back to Hopeworks and asked them if I can come back. I told them that I was ready to start all over and that I knew what I wanted. So here I am again. I have a job at Hopeworks, I started college, and I moved into the crib. The only difference this time, nobody's going to get in my way and stop me from being successful.